We're on to the story, part 2. I'm sure I know what some of you were thinking. Why didn't CPS just intervene with the case I was talking about in part 1? Well, that's a funny story. You see, Dolores County Child Support Enforcement had entered an appearance on this case, which was strange because my client had never been behind on child support, not one time. In fact, he usually paid more than he was supposed to for years and often gave the mother money for extra things like school clothes and school supplies when she didn't have it. He can prove all of that with financial records. Anyways, the mother decided she wanted to go back to school so she could get a bachelor's degree, so she fired her attorney, and for some bizarre reason, the Dolores County attorney started acting as her attorney and then approached my client and basically said, hey, we want to modify child support without talking to me, the attorney of record. My client agreed. My client didn't know any better. He liked to keep the peace. He didn't want to fight with her. So he agreed to pay her more child support so she could go back to school. My client found out that she dropped out of school and didn't tell him. So he went back to court and tried to modify child support so he was paying a fair amount, which I think is reasonable. Anyways, the child support enforcement woman, Janet Crawford, who was friends with the mother, started targeting him. She took his taxes improperly. I know she did it once. I think she might have done it twice, but I might be wrong on that. But I do know that Dolores County did have to reimburse him or offset mother's child support or something because of them making an error in against him. Then we found out Miss Crawford continued to try and send documents behind my back to him, trying to extort financial information out of him and keep playing games with him. Also, she allowed the mother to work less than full time so the mother could take advantage of Medicaid and food stamps, even though the mother was an LPN, capable of choosing to work 10 hours a week. Anyways, I argued with the county attorney, Dennis Goldbright, via email that I was concerned about my client's rights potentially being violated by the department and the department not extending equal protection to him under the law. I argued that they were being biased and unfair to my client. The county attorney argued with me that they weren't doing that and that I was wrong. So I emailed the director of social services for Dolores County, Melinda Evans, separately from the county attorney, asking for a copy of grievance policy for my records. This is all in July of 23. I guess they must have assumed that I was going to file something on them because I got an email back from Melinda with Dennis attached telling me that they were going to withdraw from my client's case. No reasoning given. The only thing that happened was me asking for a copy of the grievance policy and telling Dennis that their caseworker was pulling some nonsense. So I have to say, if I was wrong, why wouldn't they have just kept Janet Crawford on the case? I mean, if I was totally full of shit, it seems like you could just ignore me and there wouldn't be any issue. Even if I did do a grievance, you'd be vindicated, right? No. Instead, they pulled themselves off. So that tells me I was right about the bias and the prejudice. Anyways, when the allegations of child abuse came up against my client by the mother and her cohorts in September of 2023, less than 2 months after all of this happened, county department refused to even talk to the children. They wouldn't interview them. I mean, these were serious allegations. They wouldn't even do anything. Oh, sorry, we're conflicted off. And they blamed it on me. They said I had gotten them conflicted off the case, which didn't happen, and I can prove that through emails. That was just a bold-faced lie. Anyways, Don Wilson, the sheriff, later repeated this lie about me in one of his lapel cam videos, blaming the department's inability to investigate the allegations of child abuse on me. I think it was all part of their plan to make me responsible for their failures. I was going to be the scapegoat. It was my fault that nobody caught this, which was ridiculous. Anyways, the mother and all of the people helping her tried to call San Miguel and La Plata counties, in addition to Dolores County, their departments, trying to make their allegations stick. But there was all kinds of details missing. There wasn't dates. Multiple people were calling, saying different things. Nobody said the same thing. And all of the counties screened it out. Every single county refused to take it up and screened out as not abuse. And that should have been the end of it. But, the mother and Sheriff Don Wilson weren't satisfied with that, so they kept it going. And I want you to know, I can prove every single piece of what I'm saying with documentation and video evidence, but they won't let me have a court hearing. So I'm saying it on here. I'll follow up with part 3, but if you want to know what happened next, I've got all of it posted on my Facebook. I'm just doing these shortish videos for those of you who hate reading. Thanks for paying attention. And just remember, I believe that this all stops when we start talking about it. Thanks.